What'd you do, Mel?
I got the cartographer.
Right, but it sounded like you did something else for safety.
You'll be here at first light. You don't know shit.
You don't know that.
Well, if you did something to help us protect, if you did something to help protect us, I want to try to help protect us too.
This is lore stuff.
Yeah.
Personal lore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was like, I can't think of any other way to be safe before we leave, but if you have any ideas, let me know.
No, personal lore stuff real quick before.
Okay.
All right. So, everybody's heading off to bed, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So you all make your way up to your rooms and kind of get settled for the night, each of you with your usual nightly routine, getting winding down for the evening. Kaltera, as you drift off to sleep, you find yourself beset on all sides by a powerful snowstorm. Wind howls around you, and your vision extends only maybe 20 or 30 feet. Before you, the hint of a tall, jagged mountain, dark and looming in the distance, though obscured by snowfall and covered in thick pine forests. The wind rushes through the branches with a mighty howl, and you can feel it. Through the fog, you make out the faintest pair of bright blue glowing eyes. As you approach through the knee-high snow, climbing up the foothills. As you do, you realize that with every step of the crunch of the snow and the biting wind at your back, that the eyes are much further than they appear. For as you walk, they grow larger, until you stand before a figure still shrouded in snowfall and blinding wind. It bows its enormous head, and you feel the sheer wind as it sets itself down gently in the snow. The once giant glowing blue eyes now plainly in front of you as you behold the face of a mighty, white, ghostly wolf, almost transparent, though its eyes still piercing blue glow staring into you. You extend your hand to touch it as it reaches out to smell you. For a moment, you feel a connection with the creature. The enormous spectral beast sniffs you and relaxes for a second. Suddenly, a clamor can be heard, carried on the wind. Men in the distance running, shouting as they trod through the knee-high embankments of the snowy mountain. You look. As you do, you begin to see the figure of a man rushing towards the wolf, his mighty sword at the ready. He looks strong, heroic even. He charges at the creature like a knight from the stories you remember being told as a child, gallant and daring, with the wind in his face, his eyes fixed on their target. The men of the hunting party behind him shout to him, the words almost indecipherable, but in the hazy dream state. You recognize them in your mind as pleas for this lone hunter to save them, to do the impossible and to slay the great wolf, and to usher in a new era of salvation and prosperity for the tribe in this unending winter. As they begin to lob their spears and fire their arrows in support, that are sent cascading through the endless whiteness towards you and the creature, piercing through the wind and the storm effortlessly, coming down into the side of this mighty wolf in front of you. The creature still sitting, looking at you, dispassionately looks to the oncoming danger, arrows pinned across its body, and then back at you, as its deep, gravelly voice echoes in your mind, not so much speaking with its face, more speaking to you directly, its eyes glowing a furious blue. They are many, but he is but one. And in a flash, the mighty creature leaps from its prone position in the snow into a full charge, carving through the storm towards the lone hunter, snatching him in his mouth. A moment passes and you watch as the wolf voraciously rips and tears pieces of the hunter, his sword flung far off into the distance with a muddled clang as it impacts into the snow. The mighty wolf ripping pieces of the man as he screams. And then, nothing. The hunting party, now in shock and horror, turn and run in every direction, scattered, leaderless and afraid. Their dream broken, their screams cascading down and echoing through the mountains. The wolf, having devoured its would-be assailant, blood smeared across its face and its fanged snout, returns to you, You notice, as it does, it carries something in its mouth. A fragment of cloth of some kind, hard to tell at a distance. And as it places this bloody rag at your feet, returning to its resting position on the ground with a mighty thud and a sigh, you look at the cloth. You notice the storm beginning to calm. The wind no longer whips at the side of your face, the cold no longer piercing through your furs and clothing. At your feet, a simple brown and black robe, drenched in red. You look and look, and in confusion you turn your gaze to the wolf, now looking back at you expectantly. It gestures, looking towards the place where it left the hunter's mangled body. Slowly you walk over towards it. As you stand over this mess of red and dark black blood and this now soaked into the snow, a sight of gore that you are now becoming more and more comfortable with in your travels. You begin to sift through the pieces of remains, mostly chunks of viscera and bone scattered randomly, until you realize that among the carnage, the head of this once mighty hero who so many placed their faith in remains intact, face down in the snow. You reach out with your boot and roll the disembodied head over and are greeted with a familiar but very unwelcome face. You look down in the snow and you see Silas, leader of the cultists you've been hunting, in anguished pain permanently affixed now across his decimated remains. Behind you, and I mean directly behind you, you feel the warm breath of the wolf bearing down on you once again as you hear its commanding presence in your mind. He is just a man, and he is alone. The wolf lets out a howl that pierces through the air, deafening at first, but inspiring in a way. As its warm breath billows above you, you can see the clouds kind of collecting in the night air. You look and you see that the veil of heavy clouds above you has been pierced. You stand in the eye of the storm. Above you, the moon hangs low in the sky, bright. You realize that it's now night, whereas when this dream began, the sun seems to still be kind of making its way through the clouds. As you gaze up into the dark, you notice something. Behind the moon, more celestial bodies of comets, foreign moons, and a large planet behind it have all come into alignment and are slowly stacking themselves above this storm. As you stare at this marvel, you feel a weightlessness begin to build up inside of you. It grows from your feet into your chest and your arms. You feel light, almost weightless. You look around, and the wolf is gone. All around, a light dusting of snow begins to ascend from the ground. The weightlessness intensifies as you feel yourself climbing inches at first, then a foot, 2, 3. You're being pulled up into the night sky. As you frantically look around, the wolf stands now at the edge of the tree line in the distance. You hear its voice once more, this time in its tone much more reserved, shaken almost. There is more to fear than men. And you awake.